Welcome to Everlasting Talk. Hello and welcome to Everlasting Talk. I'm your host, Ever, and today we're doing a biography series. Today's episode, we're doing an episode on Heinrich Himmler. Warning, some of the things I'm about to say are, could be controversial, and, especially this person. Well, before we get started, make sure to check us out on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, or X now, whatever it's called, Twitch, where I do gaming stuff, um, Blogger. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and also on Kick as well. I haven't recorded on there yet or done anything there, but I have a Kick account. Maybe in the future, maybe TikTok as well. But yeah, let's get started. Today we're doing an episode on Heinrich Himmler. Heinrich Himmler was one of the worst human beings in history, leader of the SS and main architect of the Holocaust. Born on October 7, 1900 in Munich, Germany, whose father was a teacher and his mother a stay-at-home mom, uh, Gerhard and Ernest. He would join the 11th Bavarian Regiment in 1917 during the First World War. Eventually, while still in training, the war ended before he could see combat. During his time after the war, he would go to college. This is where his views on anti-Semitism grew stronger, but still having some good demeanor towards people who were Jewish as well in their presence, totally different behind closed doors. By 1922, he was fully immersed in participating against minority groups. By August 1st, 1923, he joined the Nazi Party and was part of the Beer Hall Pups that was orchestrated by Hitler and others in the political party. That at the time it failed, and Hitler was sent to jail. But he was almost arrested by police, but it didn't slow him down. He would double down his efforts in the party. All he and the party had to do was wait until the right moment, and that was the Great Depression. When the Great Depression hit, they used anti-Semitic ideology and fear, and Hitler and the party would rise to power. By 1933, Hitler was in full control of Germany, and in less than 3 months, the first of many concentration camps would emerge. By World War II, 1939, Himmler would transform the SS into death squads. They went from more of a police service to a death squad. By the end of 1939, over 60,000 people were killed. By 1941, the invasion of the USSR came into full swing, and Himmler would bring the demise of over 28 Soviets between 1941 and 1942. But as the USSR was fighting back the invasion of Germany, this is where Himmler became in charge of orchestrating one of the worst mass killings in world history. Yeah, so pretty much he, he became powerful. Obviously, the political party became powerful, and they would eventually do horrible things. There was all these stories and all these pictures and stuff that we see. But yeah, he was the main architect of it. Um, he found the worst ways possible to do things to kill people. Um, eventually into the death of over 6 million Jewish people and other minority groups. So I think, and they said that the way they did it originally was too brutal. Because I don't know how, but then eventually they would resort to using chemical weapons and all that. Um, Eventually during the war, he would be labeled by Germany as a traitor for talking to the U.S. and allies. He promised them that Hitler's gonna die, you know, be deceased, and they decide, and the government decided, the Germany decided to make him enemy of the state. He would eventually go on the run, making sure that he wasn't caught or anything like that. but he was eventually caught at um, a couple months later, like no, like almost to the end of the war. He was uh, surprised he got caught. He was also surprised that they didn't just end him there, but he had a backup plan. He would actually be forced to take a doctor's examination, and that during that examination, he would go ahead and swallow a cyanide pill. And on May 23rd, 1945, he would be announced deceased. They decided not to. Obviously, he was a horrible person, so he was just buried in an unmarked grave. So nobody really knows where his body is, and obviously they did that so no one could dig him up and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, if anything, if you guys ever want to check out some books, I know this one is shorter because so he's such a horrible person. One of the worst crimes in history. If he lived, he'd probably be on trial for sure. He would have definitely gotten the worst possible punishment out there. But he decided to take the matters in his own hands because he knew he was not gonna, it's gonna be a lot, So I'm not gonna say the word, if he didn't do that. But there's some books you could look out for. There's some books I did my research with. Was Heinrich Himmler, The Sinister Life of the Head of the SS and Gestapo by Heinrich Frankel and Roger Manuel. Check that book out. Also, another book called Heinrich Himmler Alive, 2012. If you want to check out a film, if you're not like the reading type, or you can just get the audiobooks. But if you want to watch a film, it's called The Dearest One from 2014. But yeah, I know I'm talking about him, but he's one of those worst people in history, especially all the atrocities that were committed by him. And in Germany, they're still living, to this day with that. Unfortunately, all the people that were affected, and it was just it's just hard to see like that people actually like this actually exists. Like it's crazy. Actually, I read some parts where the books I mentioned where he actually had conflict with he grew up as a Catholic, so for him he was really religious until he got to college. A lot of people during that time, and so it's kind of for him he had a conflict of interest, but at the same time he still went through with it. So that's kind of like, oh, I just following orders, but at the same time, you know, that's not a good excuse for that. But unfortunately, yeah, I will label him one of the worst people in history. I mean, I'll probably do a list in the future just to rank people, but because there's a lot of bad people, especially people I've talked about already. I talked about other people that did atrocities as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, hopefully, everybody, you know, looks at this as an example of like farthest extent of where people can go, and it's scary. But yeah, I mean, anything, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this episode. I know it was kind of shorter than most. But yeah, I mean, if anything, if you want to look up this person, look at the books and the movie I recommended to you. And then the next time we're going to talk about Marie Antoinette. So yeah, we're going to switch it up a little bit here. But yeah, well, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, follow on social media. I got content on Instagram. It's mostly like shorts and stuff. It's more other stuff I do, so check that out. Tell your friends and family about my show. I also host a wrestling show you guys could check out. I can send a link to that and cryptocurrency. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Everlasting Talk. For more content, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Everlasting Talk. Thank you.